Christmas Day arrived with noise, joy, songs, dancing, and enough excitement to wake even the laziest person in Obinepa. The whole village smelled like fried meat, fresh rice, new clothes, and happiness. Children ran around with fireworks in their hands, screaming and laughing. The women wore their brightest wrappers, the men wore their neat shirts, and the churches were full of singing voices. But none of that touched Agatha's heart. Christmas Day meant celebration for the entire village, but not for her. Her own heart was clouded, heavy, quiet. The hurt she felt yesterday still sat inside her chest like a stone too heavy to carry but too stubborn to drop. Every time she remembered Sapphire and Collins standing together, her stomach squeezed painfully. She had cried last night until her pillow became wet. She tried to hide her tears, but they came anyway. And when she woke up this morning, she felt tired, not physically tired, but emotionally tired. Her face looked dull, her eyes looked like someone who didn't sleep well, her heart felt bruised. Still, she got up, bathed, dressed, and tried her best to look normal. She could not sit at home doing nothing. Her mother was excited for the day, going around preparing food and organizing things. Agatha helped where she could, but she was quiet, too quiet. At some point, her mother looked at her and asked, "Aggie, are you sick?" "No, Mama," Agatha said quickly. "I'm fine." Her mother stared at her suspiciously, but didn't push further. Later in the day, some of her friends, including Chiamaka, came to call her. "Agatha, let's go to the mansion," they shouted from the gate. Agatha hesitated. She did not want to go there, not today, not after what she saw yesterday, not after learning Sapphire existed. But her mother, who didn't know anything, shouted from inside the house, "Follow your friends, at least enjoy Christmas small. Don't stay inside like a sad chicken." Agatha forced a small smile. She really didn't want to go, but she also didn't want to explain anything, so she dressed up, fixed her dress, and joined her friends, walking slowly behind them toward the mansion. The closer they got, the heavier her chest felt. She could already imagine Sapphire smiling beautifully. She could already imagine Collins standing beside her. She could already imagine how much it would hurt her to see them again. But she kept walking. Music blasted from the mansion compound. Laughter filled the air. Villagers danced near the gate. Children ran around with biscuits and sweets in their hands. Some people were already receiving gifts from Mrs. Cecilia and Chief Ozo. Everything looked joyful, but Agatha's heart was not. She and her friends entered the compound. Chiamaka was already smiling and pointing at the food and decorations. "Agatha, look! They cooked plenty food. Let's go and collect before everything finishes." "You go," Agatha murmured. "Huh?" Chiamaka turned to her. "I said let's go." "You go," Agatha repeated softly. "I'm not hungry. I've eaten." Chiamaka frowned slightly but shrugged. "Okay, oh, suit yourself." Her friends ran off to join the crowd. Agatha stood quietly under the shade of a tree, watching people move around. She watched children screaming happily. She watched women dancing. She watched the mansion workers carrying plates of food. Then she saw them, Sapphire and Collins, standing together, talking, laughing, smiling at each other like two people who shared the future. Agatha's chest tightened immediately. Her breath caught. She felt something break inside her again. She turned her face away quickly. She did not want to see Sapphire. She did not want to see how beautiful she looked. She did not want to see how perfect she appeared beside Collins. She did not want to see how calm, confident, and natural they were together. She avoided them, the way someone avoids a person they owe money. She walked fast in the opposite direction, pretending to be busy, pretending she didn't see either of them, pretending she wasn't hurting. But her heart kept whispering, "Why is life like this? Why him? Why her? Why now?" She needed to breathe. She needed space. She needed to leave before the pain in her chest spilled out in front of everyone. She left the compound quietly, without telling her friends. She walked down the road alone. The air felt too hot for her. Her hands were shaking slightly. She kept biting her lower lip to stop herself from crying. "Why did I come here? she whispered angrily. Why did I follow them? I should have stayed home. She walked faster. Her heart was beating too loudly. Her eyes stung with tears. She blinked several times, trying to stop them, but the pain inside her chest refused to settle. She walked through the village streets, trying not to look at anyone. Everyone seemed happy, celebrating the day with joy and laughter, but her Christmas day felt dark. She reached a quieter part of the village, near the small footpath that led to the farms. The trees stood quietly, the wind blew softly, and the road was almost empty. She walked slowly now, breathing out her frustration. Then, she saw something up ahead, an old woman, bent over, struggling. She was trying to lift a big basket of yam onto her head, but she couldn't. The basket was large, filled with heavy tubers. The woman's back curved painfully as she tried again and again to lift it, while her hands shook every time. Agatha stopped walking. She watched for a moment. Something pressed her heart. Even with all the pain she was carrying today, she could not ignore someone who needed help. She walked closer. Good afternoon, Mama, Agatha said gently. The old woman looked up. Her face was wrinkled and tired. Her eyes looked weary but kind. Good afternoon, my daughter, she replied softly. Agatha looked at the basket. Should I help you? The old woman waved her hands quickly. No, don't worry. It is too heavy. I don't want you to hurt yourself. Agatha shook her head. It's okay, Mama. Let me help. You can't carry this alone. The old woman looked at her again and sighed. You are a kind child. Thank you. Agatha knelt slightly, lifted the heavy basket with both hands, and balanced it on her head. It was heavy, but she could manage it. She had carried firewood and farm produce many times in her life. Where are you going, Mama? Agatha asked. Just follow me, the woman said quietly. Agatha followed her slowly. They walked along the sleepy path, away from the village noise and deeper towards the quiet outskirts. The trees became thicker, the wind cooler, the sound of footsteps, the only thing breaking the silence. After a while, Agatha asked, Mama, is your house far? The old woman stopped suddenly. No, she said softly, just stop here. Agatha lowered the basket carefully to the ground. She wiped sweat from her forehead. Okay, Mama, is everything alright? The old woman stared at her for a long moment, a very long moment. Then she asked softly, what is your name? Agatha, she replied. The old woman nodded slowly. Agatha. She repeated quietly, you have a good heart. Agatha looked confused. Thank you, Mama. The woman reached into the folds of her old wrapper and brought out something small, a ring. It looked simple but old. The metal was worn out, yet it shone faintly as if touched by magic. The woman held the ring in her palm and extended her hand towards Agatha. Take this, she whispered. Agatha blinked. Mama, what is it? A ring, the woman said. A ring that can give you one wish. Agatha stared at the ring, shocked. One wish? Yes, the woman said calmly. But be careful, be very careful. Every wish brings a result. Some results are sweet, some are dangerous. Choose wisely. Agatha's heart raced. She looked at the ring again. One wish, one chance. She swallowed. Why are you giving it to me? She asked softly. The woman smiled weakly. Because you helped me, and because I see pain in your heart. Agatha looked down, startled that the woman could sense anything. The old woman pushed the ring closer. Take it. Use it at home. Make your wish when you are alone. But remember, wishing for something that is not meant for you can bring sorrow. Agatha hesitated, but then she slowly stretched her hand and took the ring. Thank you, Mama, she whispered. The woman nodded once. Go home. So Agatha turned and walked away. When she looked back, the old woman was gone, just like that, as if she vanished into the thin air. Agatha blinked. Where did she go? When she shook her head, her heart was too heavy to think. She walked home quickly, gripping the ring in her hand. When she she reached her room, she sat on her bed and stared at the ring. The room was quiet. Evening had come, and the oil lamp glowed softly. The sounds of Christmas celebration still floated from far away, but her mind was focused only on the ring. One wish, one chance. She had so many options. She could wish for school fees. She could wish for a university scholarship. She could wish for a better life for her mother. She could wish for long life. She could wish for success. She knew these were the wise choices. She knew these were the responsible choices. But her heart? Her heart was foolish today. Her heart was broken today. Her heart was soft today. Her heart wanted only one thing. She held the ring tightly, closed her eyes, and whispered, I wish for Collins to love me and love me alone. The room went silent. Agatha opened her eyes slowly. She didn't know if anything had changed. She didn't know if the wish worked. But her heart felt strangely light, like someone removing a small weight from it. She placed the ring under her pillow and lay down, staring at the ceiling. Her last whisper before sleep came was, Love has finished me. At the mansion that night, everything looked normal on the surface. It was Christmas Day, and the entire Ozo family sat around their long dining table. The lights in the dining room glowed softly, giving the whole space a warm golden tone. The table was filled with food: fried rice, chicken, salad, jollof rice, goat meat, drinks. Christmas song played gently in the background. Everyone looked calm and relaxed. Chief Ozo was laughing softly at a joke someone made. Mrs. Cecilia was cutting chicken for Adobe. Sapphire, sitting beside Collins, was smiling politely and eating slowly. Everything seemed perfect. But Collins was not himself. He sat quietly, holding his fork in one hand, staring at his plate without seeing anything. His eyes looked far away, as if his mind had disappeared into another world. Every few seconds, he blinked rapidly, shook his head lightly, or touched his chest, as if something was pulling him. Sapphire reached out and touched his arm gently. Are you alright, my love? She asked. Collins blinked again, confused. I don't know, he whispered. Mrs. Cecilia looked at him carefully. Collins, are you sick? No, Mom, he replied quickly, though he looked anything but fine. He dropped his fork. His heart suddenly began to beat fast, too fast. He felt heat in his chest, spread into his arms, then to his head. He inhaled sharply and gripped the table edge. Sapphire moved closer. What is wrong? She whispered, worried. Collins stood up suddenly, so suddenly that his chair fell backward with a loud noise. Everyone turned sharply. Collins! Mrs. Cecilia shouted. What is it? But he didn't answer. He didn't wait. He didn't think. Something inside him, something powerful, something invisible, pulled him strongly, almost physically. He grabbed his car keys and he ran. Not normal running. He ran like someone being chased by spiritual data bundle, like someone whose mind had been hijacked. He ran out of the dining room, through the hallway, down the stairs, through the front door and into the compound. Sapphire stood up, shocked. Collins! Adobe covered her mouth. What is happening? Chief Ozo frowned deeply. Where is that boy going? Mrs. Cecilia stood up, confused and worried at the same time. Follow him, but it was too late. The sound of Collins' car roared to life. Then, it shot out of the compound at high speed. Inside the car, Collins' heart thumped wildly. His breath was fast. His fingers shook. His mind was no longer his own. Every thought had melted away, replaced with only one thing, only one name, only one direction, only one destination, Agatha. He didn't understand what was happening. He didn't know why he suddenly needed to see her. He didn't know why her face was the only thing in his mind. He didn't know why his chest felt empty without her. He didn't know why his heart was shouting her name like a drum in a festival. He just drove fast, too fast for the village road. He turned corner after corner, zooming through the quiet main street. Meanwhile, at Agatha's house, things were normal. Her mother has returned from where she went to and woke Agatha up. Agatha was sitting quietly on the floor. helping her mother peel yam for the next day. The night air was cool, and the small lamp in the corner of the room flickered softly. Her mother hummed a Christmas tune while peeling her own yam. Agatha, however, was not humming. Her mind kept jumping back to the ring and the wish she made. I wish for Collins to love me and love me alone. She had whispered it softly, but the memory of it kept replaying in her head. She felt guilty, nervous, curious, afraid, confused. Part of her wished she hadn't done it. Another part of her wondered what could happen. She sighed quietly. Her mother glanced at her. Why are you quiet like this? Christmas Day, and your face is looking like someone who lost all her clothes. I'm fine, Mama, Agatha murmured. Her mother shook her head. I'm fine. Suddenly, knock, knock, knock. A loud, desperate knock hit their door. Both women jumped. Her mother frowned. Who is knocking like that at this hour? The knocking came again, louder this time, faster, almost urgent. Knock, knock, knock. Agatha and her mother exchanged confused glances. The mother stood up cautiously. Who is that? She shouted. No answer, only another hard knock. She walked to the door, heart beating a little faster. She unlocked it slowly. The door swung open, and there he was, Collins, standing right there at their entrance, breathing heavily, looking wild, looking desperate, looking like a man whose entire soul had been set on fire. Agatha's mother gasped so loudly she almost choked on air. Collins? What are you doing here? Where is she? Collins panted. Agatha stepped forward slowly. When Collins saw her, his whole body reacted. His eyes widened, his chest rose sharply. His expression softened instantly. He took one step toward her, then another, then he rushed to her. Before she could move, before she could think, before she could even blink, he grabbed her and hugged her tightly. A deep, desperate, emotional hug. Not a friendly hug, not a casual one. A hug that someone who had found the missing piece of his life. Agatha froze, completely froze. Her eyes widened, her body stiffened, her brain melted. Agatha, he whispered into her ear, his voice shaking. I love you. Agatha's mother's mouth fell open so wide that a mosquito could have flown in easily. What? She screamed, but Collins didn't hear her. He tightened his arms around Agatha. I love you, he repeated loudly. I love you so much. I love you. I love you, Agatha. Agatha's mother almost lost her balance. She held the door frame to stop herself from falling. Collins, have you lost your mind? But Collins didn't even look at her. He kept hugging Agatha, as if letting her go would end his life. Agatha finally found her voice. Collins, what are you doing? I love you, he repeated again breathlessly. I can't live without you. I need you. Agatha's mother clapped her hands in shock. Hey, God, somebody help me, oh! Why is this boy shouting love in my house? She rushed forward, grabbed Agatha's arm and tried to pull her away, but Collins held her tighter. No, don't take her for a bee, he shouted. She's my love. Agatha's mother pointed at him angrily. Collins, go home. This is nonsense. Leave my daughter alone. But Collins shook his head like a stubborn child. No, I love her. She's the one for me. Agatha was frozen, her arms slightly raised, her face completely shocked. Nothing made sense, nothing. Not the hug, not the shouting, not the sudden love, nothing. Her mother pulled harder. Leave her! Collins refused. No! Leave her! No! Finally, Agatha's mother used all her strength and yanked Agatha away from him. Collins reached out again, but her mother pushed him back and quickly dragged Agatha inside the house. Before she shut the door, she pointed at him again. Go home, Collins. Are you hearing me? Go home. But Collins only stretched his arms toward Agatha and shouted through the doorway, I love you! Her mother slammed the door shut. Inside the house, silence filled the room. Agatha stood still, staring at nothing. Her mother stared at her daughter like she was seeing a ghost. Then slowly, very slowly, she asked, Agatha, what happened? What did you do? Agatha swallowed. I didn't do anything, Mama, she whispered, trembling. Outside, Collins started knocking again. I love you! Agatha, I love you. Her mother shouted back, go to your father's house. But Collins kept knocking. Agatha covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. She was scared. She was confused. She was shocked. She didn't expect the wish to walk this fast. She didn't even expect it to walk at all. Her heart beat fast, too fast. Her mother paced back and forth, anger and confusion mixing in her face. What is happening here? Why is that boy behaving like this? Collins continued shouting, I love you! Agatha whispered, trembling. What have I done? Eventually, after shouting for several minutes, Collins stopped knocking. They heard footsteps. He walked away slowly, still calling her name, still confessing love, still sounding desperate. Agatha sank to the floor, her breath shaking. Her mother stared at her for a long moment. Then she whispered, this is not ordinary. Agatha nodded slowly, her whole body trembling like she had just woken from a frightening dream. Because the spell had begun, and she had no idea what she had truly unleashed. Morning came slowly, creeping into the sky with soft light that stretched across the rooftops of Obinipa. Birds began singing, roosters crowed loudly, and the village finally woke from its Christmas night excitement. The air smelled fresh, carrying the scent of dew on grass and distant aroma of leftover food being warmed in kitchens. But inside Agatha's home, the atmosphere was tense, heavy, and far from peaceful. Agatha barely slept. She spent most of the night staring at her ceiling, wondering if what happened yesterday was real or a dream her tired heart created. She replayed the scene over and over again, the sudden knock, the tight hug, the shocking confusion, and her mother dragging her away. She kept whispering into her pillow, what have I done? Her mother also didn't sleep well. She kept waking up, pacing the room, muttering, something is wrong somewhere. This is not normal. This girl will not kill me. Several times, she peeked through the window to make sure Collins wasn't outside waiting again. But the night passed quickly, and morning arrived. Agatha got out of bed slowly, her body weak from stress and little sleep. Her mother was already in the compound, sweeping the ground aggressively, like she was sweeping away her problems. Agatha stepped outside and greeted softly. Good morning, Mama. Her mother didn't answer immediately. She hit the broom against the ground repeatedly, her chest rising and falling with irritation. Finally, she muttered, morning. Agatha didn't know what else to say. She walked toward the backyard to fetch water. Then, a familiar voice cut through the morning air like a sharp blade. Agatha! Agatha dropped the bucket. Her heart stopped. Her mother froze mid-sweep. Both of them looked toward the gate, and there he was, Collins, standing in front of the house like someone who had woken up with only one mission in life, to declare love loudly. He walked into the compound before anyone could stop him. His shirt was slightly wrinkled from rushing. His hair was still neatly brushed, and his eyes were glowing with an almost frightening sincerity. Agatha's mother's mouth fell open. No, 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 not again, she whispered. Collins didn't even greet anybody. He walked straight to Agatha and grabbed her hands like she was the last human being on earth. Agatha, he said breathlessly, I love you. Agatha's heart turned painfully. She swallowed hard. Collins, please, I couldn't sleep, he continued, shaking his head. I kept thinking about you. I had to come. I want to be with you. Her mother threw broom on the ground dramatically. Collins, have you lost your senses? But he ignored her completely. He looked into Agatha's eyes with deep seriousness. I want to marry you. Agatha felt the word tilt. Marry me? She whispered. Yes, he said without hesitation. I want you, only you. I don't need anyone else. Agatha's mother stepped between them quickly, pulling Agatha's arm. Move back. What kind of nonsense talk is this? This is early morning. People are still waking up. Marriage what? She pointed at him. Go home. You hear me? Leave my daughter alone. Collins turned his head slowly, almost like a robot, and looked at Agatha's mother with calm eyes that didn't look normal. No, he said simply. Agatha's mother gasped dramatically. No? Did you just tell me no? Collins nodded. Agatha is mine. Your what? Ekwe screamed, holding her chest like she wanted to faint. Ah, my God. Somebody save me. This boy has gone mad. Collins turned back to Agatha. Let's go. he whispered. Come with me, my love. Agatha's mother grabbed her other arm quickly. She's not going anywhere, not even to the gate. Collins pulled her gently. Come, Agatha. Don't follow him, her mother hissed. Stay here. Collins tightened his grip slightly. Agatha, let's go. Agatha's mother tightened her grip too. Agatha, don't you dare move. Agatha stood in the middle, her arms stretched like a rope in a fierce tug of war. Her heart pounded loudly, her breath shook. Her eyes burned with tears she didn't know how to control. She didn't understand why Collins was behaving like this. She didn't know why she felt torn between fear, guilt, and confusion. She didn't know why her mother's anger hurt her heart. She didn't know why she felt strangely pulled toward Collins, even though her brain screamed that this was wrong. Agatha, her mother shouted, tell this boy to leave you alone. Agatha, Collins whispered desperately, don't let her separate us. Agatha closed her eyes. Her mother pulled harder. Come inside now. But surprisingly, Agatha pulled her arm away, not gently, not slowly. She snatched it away like someone pushed too hard into a corner, and she actually shouted, leave me alone, Mama. I love him too. Silence. Deep silence. The kind of silence that could break glass. Her mother stepped back, as if slapped by the air itself. Her eyes widened. Her mouth trembled. She touched her chest slowly, shaking her head. What did you just say to me? Her mother asked softly, her voice breaking. Agatha's breath shook. I said, leave us alone. Collins smiled proudly, as if he just won a trophy. Her mother took another step back. Agatha, she whispered, you want to kill me before my time? Agatha looked down, tears falling quietly. Collins lifted her chin gently. Don't cry, my love, don't cry, he whispered. I'm here. Her mother threw her hands in the air. This is madness, pure madness. The both of you are not okay. Collins took Agatha's hand confidently. Come, my love, he whispered. Agatha nodded, and she followed him. Just like that, she followed him out of the compound. Her mother watched, mouth opened, tears forming slowly in her eyes. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her gentle, obedient daughter, following a man like she had no home training. A man who was clearly not normal today. A man talking about marriage like he was talking about buying bread. Her voice cracked as she shouted after them. Agatha, come back here. Come back. Don't let me suffer shame like this. But they kept walking. Collins held her hand firmly. Agatha didn't look back. Her mother fell to her knees in the middle of the compound. Her wrapper touching the dirt. She whispered, God, what is this? What's happening to my daughter? Tears fell down her cheeks. After a minute, she stood up, breathing hard, anger boiling inside her chest. She tied her wrapper tighter and stormed out of the house. If I sit here, I will die, she muttered. I'm going to their mansion now. They must explain. They must do something. This madness must end today. She marched through the village, breathing heavily, ignoring everyone who greeted her. When she reached the Ozo mansion, the security man opened the gate quickly. Good morning, ma. Opie did not answer. She marched past him, her face on fire, her heart pounding in her ears. She entered the mansion without waiting for permission. She shouted loudly, Mrs. Cecilia, Chief Ozo, come out! Come out now! I cannot take this! Mrs. Cecilia rushed out, her face worried. What is it? What happened, Equitos? Equitos didn't wait. She screamed, your son has gone mad, completely mad. He came to my house shouting love, saying he wants to marry my daughter, dragging her out like she's something he bought. Chief Ozo entered the room quickly. What are you saying? Ekwi threw her hands up. He came to my house this morning. He came this morning again, shouting, hugging, dragging her. It's not normal. This is not normal at all, oh. Mrs. Cecilia gasped. Again? He went there yesterday too? Ekwi pointed at both of them accusingly. Something is wrong with him, and I will not let my daughter be part of this madness. Chief Ozo rubbed his hand nervously. This is not Collins' behavior. He doesn't act like this. Adobe entered the room confused. What's happening? Ekwi faced her angrily. Your brother has gone mad. Eh? He wants to marry my daughter, a small girl of 16 years old. She just turned 16. Adobe covered her mouth. What? That doesn't make sense. Collins would never do that. Mrs. Cecilia shook her head. No, no, something is wrong somewhere. Something is controlling him. Ekwe paced the floor angrily, tears returning to her eyes. Please help me. Help him. Help my daughter. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's controlling them. But this is not normal. Chief also sighed deeply. We'll find out, I promise. But you must stay strong. Ekwe wiped her tears. You better act fast, because I'm losing my child, my only child. The others looked at one another, worried, confused, afraid. Because truly, this was not their son. Something was wrong, very wrong, and everyone knew it. When Collins pulled Agatha away in his love madness, the whole village watched in confusion. Some people whispered, some pointed, some laughed. Some simply shook their heads because they had never seen anything like it before. Agatha followed him without thinking clearly. Her mind was floating somewhere far away from normal sense. Her heart beat too fast. Her thoughts were blurry. She knew something strange was happening, yet she didn't stop herself. She didn't understand why. She didn't understand how. She didn't understand anything. Collins held her hand tightly as they walked toward his car. Come, he said softly. I want to show you something. Agatha swallowed. Where are we going? He smiled at her in a way that made her stomach flip. Somewhere peaceful, somewhere beautiful, somewhere just for us. He opened the car door for her. She entered. He went around, entered the driver's seat, and started the engine. The car hummed softly as they drove away, leaving the village behind. The road stretched long and quiet, trees lined both sides, birds flew above them. The wind slipped through the windows, gently touching their faces. Even though Agatha knew this wasn't normal, part of her still felt warm inside, like she was entering a dream world. After some time, she recognized where they were going, the beach. A small calm beach at the edge of the village, where people sometimes went to relax or fetch seawater. When the car parked near the shore, Agatha stepped out slowly. The smell of salt water filled the air. The waves whispered gently as they rolled across the sand. The sky stretched wide and bright above them. The wind danced through her hair. It was peaceful, too peaceful. Collins walked around the car and stood beside her. His eyes glowed with affection, strong, intense affection that felt too heavy for a 16-year-old girl. He took her hand again. Are you okay, my love? He asked softly. Yes, she said, though she wasn't sure. Good, he whispered. They walked toward the water, their feet sinking into the warm sand. Collins stopped and looked at her with a smile that could melt butter. You're beautiful, he said. Agatha's heart jumped. Stop saying that. It's true, he insisted. I've never seen anyone like you. Agatha looked down at her feet. Her cheeks burned. She didn't know what to say. She didn't know if she should smile or cry or run. The whole situation felt unreal, like she had been thrown inside a romantic novel. Collins reached into a small basket he brought from the car and pulled out fruits, mangoes, bananas, apples, and oranges. He also brought roasted meat and some bread. Let's eat, he said. They sat on the sand. The waves called toward them gently, like curious listeners. Collins cut a mango and handed her a piece. She tasted it. The sweetness touched her tongue at the same time. The breeze touched her skin. For a moment, she forgot every problem waiting outside this moment. He offered her more. She laughed shyly. He laughed too. They talked. They teased each other. They splashed water on each other. He carried her once, spinning her around as she screamed and laughed. The sunlight rested on their faces, making everything look like a painting. Agatha felt like she wasn't in Obinepa anymore. She felt like she was inside someone else's life, someone older, someone braver, someone experienced in love. At one point, Collins stared at her wildly. His eyes softened. Come here, he said gently. Agatha moved closer and then he kissed her. A soft, quick kiss, full of emotion. Agatha's eyes widened. Her heart exploded like fireworks. The world around her disappeared for a moment. Her chest tightened. Her breath fainted. Her thoughts melted. She felt like she had stepped into a romantic movie she wasn't supposed to be part of. When he pulled back, he smiled softly. I love you, he whispered. Agatha didn't know what to say. She didn't know how to balance between joy and confusion and guilt. The kiss felt like something magical, Yet something inside her whispered it was wrong. Still, she smiled back weakly. The rest of the day moved like warm honey, slow, sweet, sticky. They ate, they talked, they hugged. They held hands while walking along the water. Agatha's heart danced even though her sense was sleeping. Hours passed. The sky slowly changed. The sun began to fall toward the horizon, spreading orange and pink colors across the waves. It's late, Agatha said softly. Mama will be worried. Collins nodded, though he looked like he didn't want the moment to end. I'll take you home. They walked back to the car. Agatha sat down slowly, still lost in the dream, like haze of the day. Collins drove her back to the village, glancing at her every few seconds. When they reached her house, he stopped the car and held her hand. Don't forget, he whispered. You are the one I love. Agatha nodded slowly. Okay. Tomorrow I'll come again, he said. Agatha didn't answer. She stepped out of the car and walked toward the door. Her mother was waiting, not sitting, not relaxing, waiting, standing in the middle of the room like a storm cloud with legs. The moment Agatha entered the house, her mother's eyes widened in shock at the sight of her daughter coming back home from a whole day out with a grown man. Where are you coming from? Her mother asked slowly. Agatha froze. Mama, Before she could finish, slap. A hot, sharp slap landed on her cheek, snapping her head to the side. Her mother's voice trembled with anger, fear, frustration, and heartbreak all mixed together. This girl wants to kill me, Equi shouted. Have you lost your senses? Mama, You followed that boy again, Equi cried. You followed him out of this house after all the nonsense he did yesterday. Agatha's eyes filled instantly with tears. I'm sorry. Sorry for what? Her mother shouted. Sorry for acting like you were born without sense? Sorry for embarrassing me in this village? Sorry for following a grown man around like you don't know your age? Mama, please, Agatha whispered, holding her cheek. Her mother paced the room, her hands on her head. God, help me. This girl wants to kill me. Agatha cried quietly. Her mother pointed at her. If you ever follow that boy again, ever, Agatha, I will show you the difference between childhood and adulthood. Agatha wiped her tears. Mama, I don't want to hear anything. Her mother shouted. Inside! Go inside, Agatha. Agatha ran into her room, sobbing. She held her face, her chest aching. The dream, like joy from the beach, collapsed instantly. Reality slapped her even harder than her mother had. She realized she was living inside a lie, a strange magical lie that felt sweet for a moment but painful the next. Meanwhile, at the Ozo mansion, Sophia sat on the edge of her bed, her face buried in her hands. She cried quietly. Her tears soaked her palms. Her fiancé, her future husband, had spent the whole day chasing after another girl, a village girl, a girl younger than her, a girl Sophia had never even heard of before coming here. Why? She whispered through her tears. Why is this happening? What did I do wrong? No one could answer her. She cried harder. Her heart felt like it was breaking into pieces. She didn't understand what spell had taken over Collins. She didn't understand why he had changed so fast. She didn't understand why he no longer looked at her the way he used to. She cried until her eyes became red and swollen. The mansion was quiet around her. No laughter, no noise, only the sound of Sophia's heartbreak filling her room. Agatha cried in her own house. Sophia cried in the mansion. And neither of them knew the nightmare was only beginning. The morning after the terrible beach day and the shouting match at Agatha's house, the entire village felt different. A heaviness hung in the air, like clouds waiting to release rain. Word had already started spreading among villagers. Collins has gone crazy. Agatha has bewitched him. Sophia is crying blood tears. This thing is not ordinary. People whispered in corners. Some shook their heads with pity. Some laughed behind closed doors. Others prayed quietly for the situation to settle. But inside the Oza mansion, the atmosphere was not gossip. It was war. Collins woke up with the same wildfire in his chest, the same burning need to see Agatha, the same strange love that refused to let him breathe normally. As soon as he opened his eyes, he jumped up from his bed and rushed to the wardrobe. He didn't bat, he didn't think. He didn't greet anyone. He just grabbed a shirt, wore trousers, and ran out of his room like someone being chased by invisible hands. Adobe, who was in the hallway, shouted, "Collins, where are you going?" But he ignored her. He sprinted down the stairs. The housemaid screamed when she nearly bumped into him. "Sorry," he shouted, but he didn't slow down. He ran to the main door, opened it, and rushed into the compound. His car keys jangled loudly in his hand. He reached his car, but before he could open it, the gate refused to open. He frowned. He pushed the car key into the ignition, started the engine, and hung loudly. "Open the gate!" he shouted, but the security man didn't move. "Sir," the guard called out nervously, "Chief said we should not open it." Collins froze. "What?" he asked sharply. "Chief said no one should open the gate for you," the guard repeated, sweating. Collins stepped out of the car angrily. "Open it now." "Sir, I can't," the guard said firmly. Collins' face darkened. "Do you want me to break this gate?" Inside the mansion, Chief also heard the shouting and rushed out. "Collins," he barked, "stop this madness." Collins turned to his father. "I need to see Agatha. Open the gate." "No," Chief also commanded. "You're not leaving this house." Mrs. Cecilia also hurried into the compound. Her hair was slightly messy from stress and her face looked tired. She pointed at her son. "Enough. What's wrong with you? Every morning you behave like you have no home training." Collins ran his fingers through his hair, breathing fast. "Mom, you don't understand. I must see her. I need to see her. She's the love of my life," Mrs. Cecilia shouted. "Love of which life?" Then she walked closer to him, shaking her head in disbelief. "Collins, this is not you." He stepped backward, trying to move toward the gate again. "I'm going." Before he could turn again, Mrs. Cecilia raised her hand and slapped him. A sharp horse slap landed on Collins' face. The sound echoed across the entire compound. Everybody froze. Collins held his cheek in shock. His eyes widened. He stared at his mother like he didn't understand the world anymore. Mrs. Cecilia shook with anger and tears. "You will not disgrace this family. You will not run around like a mad person." Collins swallowed, his voice suddenly weak. "Mom, I love her," Mrs. Cecilia shouted again. "You don't know what you are saying." Chief also stepped forward. "Collins, if you try to leave this house again, I will lock you inside your room." Collins' chest rose and fell quickly. His heart pounded painfully. His mind kept screaming Agatha's name, but the gate remained locked. He dropped to his knees suddenly, pulling at his hair. "I need her." Mrs. Cecilia trembled. "Something is wrong. This is not my son." Adobe, who had been standing behind her parents, covered her mouth. "Mama, we need help." Chief Ozo nodded slowly. His voice broke. "This is beyond us." At that moment, a knock came from the mansion entrance. Everyone turned. Agatha's mother stood there. Her hands were shaking. Her face was swollen from crying. Her wrapper was tight like someone going into battle. Mrs. Cecilia rushed to her. "My sister, please forgive us. This situation has become something else." Agatha's mother stepped closer. Her voice was weak but angry. "Where is your son? I want to talk to him." Collins lifted his head immediately. "Agatha, where is she? Is she outside? I need to see her." Chief Ozo held him down. "You will not move." Agatha's mother pointed at Collins. "This boy almost fought me in my own house. He's calling my daughter my love up and down. She's 16. What is this?" Mrs. Cecilia placed both hands on her head. "We don't know what has happened to him. This is not normal." The Ozos begged Agatha's mother to go bring Agatha, and she did. 15 minutes later, Agatha arrived with her mother. The moment Collins saw her, he broke free from his father's grip and rushed toward her like gravity itself was pulling him. "Agatha!" he cried, hugging her tightly. Agatha froze again. She could feel everyone's eyes on her. She didn't know whether to run or collapse. Her mother stepped forward. "Leave her! Leave my daughter now!" Collins held her tighter. "Don't take her from me, please!" Mrs. Cecilia shouted. "Collins, let her go!" Chief Ozo grabbed his arm. "Control yourself." After some force, they managed to separate him from her. They all sat down in the living room. Even Sapphire was there, her eyes red and swollen from crying through the night. Silence filled the room. Cold, tense. Chief Ozo turned to Agatha first. "My daughter, we will ask you only one question. Please tell us the truth. Did you do anything to Collins?" Agatha looked down, her hands shaking on her lap. She felt her heart beating loudly. She felt her mother staring at her. She felt Sapphire glaring at her like a wounded lion. But she lied. No, she whispered. I did nothing. Agatha's mother gasped quietly and whispered harshly. Tell them the truth, my dear. But Agatha repeated louder this time. I did nothing. Mrs. Cecilia shook her head slowly. Agatha, please be honest. If you did anything, we'll not hurt you. We just want to help our son. We just want him back. Agatha swallowed painfully. I swear, I did nothing. Sapphire stood up suddenly. Her voice trembled. This is not normal. Something is controlling him. Something is wrong. You speak. What did you do to my husband to be? Then she looked at Agatha with anger burning in her eyes. What did you do to him? Sapphire screamed. What did you do to him? I didn't do anything. Agatha shouted back, tears spilling from her eyes. Liar! Sapphire shouted. Colin suddenly jumped from his seat and pushed Sapphire so hard she fell onto the couch. Everyone gasped. Don't talk to her like that, Collins yelled. Don't shout at her. She's my love. Sapphire burst into tears, covering her face. Mrs. Cecilia stood up, pointing at him. Collins, have you lost your mind completely? Chief also shook his head, sadness filling his eyes. This thing is deep. Adobe whispered fearfully. This is worse than yesterday. Agatha's mother dropped into a chair and held her head. This is a nightmare. Collins walked back to Agatha and sat beside her. He held her hand tightly like someone afraid of losing a precious object. Don't cry. My love, he whispered to her. I'm here. Agatha cried harder. Mrs. Cecilia whispered to Chief Ozo. We must find the cause. Something is controlling him. Chief Ozo nodded. We cannot let this continue. Then he turned to the room and announced, until we find the cause, Agatha must stay in this mansion. Everyone froze. Agatha's tears stopped suddenly from shock. Her mother jumped up shouting, What? She's not staying anywhere. She's going home with me. Chief Ozo raised his hand gently. Ekutosi, please, if she goes home, he will chase her every day. He will run mad on the road. People will talk. Let us stay here until we understand this thing. Mrs. Cecilia added, Yes, we need to observe them. We need her here. Agatha shook her head. No, please, I want to go home. Collins pulled her closer. No, my love, stay with me. Agatha's mother pointed at her. Don't listen to him. Stand up. We are leaving. But before Agatha could move, Collins held her waist, hugging her tightly. No, he whispered. Don't leave me. Agatha burst into tears again. Mrs. Cecilia sighed deeply. If she leaves, this situation will get worse. My son will run mad. Let us stay here until we find a solution. Her mother looked at Agatha with helpless eyes, tears forming. Agatha, she whispered. What have you gotten yourself into? Agatha cried with her face buried in her hands. Collins wrapped his arms around her shoulder gently, like Romeo comforting Juliet, whispering, I'm here, don't cry. I won't let anything happen to you. She cried even harder because she knew exactly what had happened. She wished for this. She called this disaster on herself. She broke her own life. But she couldn't tell the truth. Not now, not in front of all these people. Not with Collins hugging her like she was his oxygen. After the shocking family meeting where Agatha cried, Collins clung to her like she was oxygen, and everyone left confused and heartbroken. The Ozo mansion fell into a new kind of tension. It wasn't the normal kind of family problem. It felt darker, heavier, like something spiritual was hovering around them. Chief Ozo did not sleep well that night. He tossed and turned, muttering prayers under his breath. His wife, Mrs. Cecilia, sat up from time to time to check the clock, wishing the morning would come fast, hoping everything would somehow fix itself by dawn. But when morning came, nothing changed. Collins woke up early, almost too early. Before the sun even opened its eyes, he was already at Agatha's door in the mansion, knocking softly. Agatha, are you awake? He whispered. She opened the door slowly, her eyes swollen from crying. He hugged her immediately, whispering, Don't worry, my love. I'm here. She didn't hug him back. She stood stiffly, feeling guilty, confused, tired, and scared all at the same time. She wanted to tell the truth, but fear tied her tongue. So, she let him hug her, even though it made her heart twist painfully inside her chest. Downstairs, Sapphire watched the scene with eyes full of sorrow and anger. Adobe watched too, shaking her head sadly. Even the housemates avoided looking directly because the whole situation felt like a wound in the air. Chief Ozo finally stepped out of his room, his face looking stressed and older than usual. He looked at his son hugging Agatha and sighed deeply. We must find a solution, he whispered to himself. And that was the beginning of this long, desperate journey. All through that day, while Collins followed Agatha around the mansion like a shadow, his father traveled from place to place seeking answers. His first stop was a well-known church at the edge of the village. The pastor laid hands on him, prayed loudly, clapped and shouted, Holy fire! But nothing changed. Colin's face still stayed glued to Agatha's memory. The second stop was another church deeper inside the village. This one was smaller, with a pastor who wore a long white robe and spoke softly. The pastor listened to Chief Ozo, nodded slowly, then prayed quietly. Still nothing. No spiritual sign, the pastor said. This one is complicated. The next stop was a prophet known for his dream interpretations. People said he could see things others couldn't. Chief Ozo explained the problem again. The prophet closed his eyes and hummed, pretending to see something far away. He then opened his eyes and said, Come back tomorrow. Chief Ozo left frustrated. He then went to a shrine outside the village. The shrine was deep in the bush area, surrounded by tall trees and thick vines. A spiritual man with chalk marks on his skin came out to meet him. You seek answers, the man said calmly. Yes, Chief Ozo replied. I need to know what is controlling my son. The man shook his head. I cannot see clearly. Something is blocking the vision. More frustration. Chief Ozo kept moving from one spiritual place to another, churches, prayer houses, prophets, herbal homes, traditional grounds. Everywhere he went, the answer was the same. We don't know. This is strange. It is deeper than it looks. By afternoon, he was sweating heavily and breathing hard. He sat under a tree by the roadside and rubbed his face with both hands. What kind of problem is this? He whispered to himself. Why my son? Why now? Back at the mansion, chaos was also boiling quietly. Agatha sat in one of the guest rooms, her hands on her lap, her eyes empty. Tears came and went like waves. She felt trapped in a house that wasn't hers, trapped in a lie she couldn't confess, trapped in a love that wasn't real. Colin sat beside her, smiling softly. Don't be sad, my love, he whispered. We'll find a way to be together. I promise you I will marry you and I will take you away. She didn't answer. He held her shoulder gently. I'm here. You don't need to cry, she whispered. Please stop saying that. But he didn't stop. Meanwhile, Sophia walked past their room and froze when she heard voices inside. Her heart squeezed painfully. She moved closer and leaned slightly near the door, listening without meaning to. Inside, she heard Agatha whisper, Collins, this cannot continue like this. They will separate us. No, Collins said, shaking his head stubbornly. I won't let them. Your parents will not allow this, Agatha said, her voice breaking. They think something is wrong with you. They want to stop us. Collins touched her cheek gently. We will run away, just the two of us, somewhere far from here. No one will separate us, Agatha. I promise. Agatha shook her head quickly. We can't run away. Why not? Collins asked softly. We can leave tonight. I'll get the car keys. We'll disappear before anyone notices. Agatha closed her eyes. Collins, this is too much. He held her hands. Don't worry, I'll protect you. Outside the door, Sophia's heart broke again. Her face went pale. She almost dropped the plate she was holding. Run away, she whispered to herself. You want to run away with her? Her breath trembled. Her hands shook. She felt like collapsing. Then she turned sharply around down the hallway, her footsteps echoing on the tiled floor. She found Chief and Mrs. Cecilia sitting in the room, both looking stressed. She didn't wait to catch her breath. She shouted, They want to run away. Mrs. Cecilia jumped from her seat. What? Sophia wiped her tears angrily. I heard them in the room. Colin said he will steal the car keys and leave with her. They want to run away. Chief Ozo stood up slowly, disbelief in his eyes. My son said that? My own son? Adobe walked in from the kitchen. What's happening again? Mrs. Cecilia turned to her. Your brother wants to run away with that girl. Adobe gasped. In this life? At that moment, fear rushed through Mrs. Cecilia's entire body. We must stop him, she whispered. Chief Ozo nodded. Yes, if she leaves this house with her, it will finish us. He turned to one of the security guards. Lock the gate. Tighten all security. No one, especially my son, must step outside without my permission. Yes, sir, the guard said and rushed out. Safaya sat down and covered her face again with both hands. More tears fell. How did this happen to me? How did I lose him like this? Mrs. Cecilia hugged her gently. My daughter, we'll fix this. We'll not allow this madness. But Safaya didn't feel comforted. She felt lost. She felt replaced. She felt invisible. Back at the girls' room, Agatha and Collins continued whispering plans without knowing their conversation had been exposed. We will run out tonight, Collins said confidently. They will all be asleep. We will leave quietly. Agatha trembled. What if they find us? They won't, he whispered. I will make sure of that. She swallowed hard. She wished she could tell him everything, that it was magic, not love, that the old woman had warned her, that this whole disaster was her fault, that she had used a ring she didn't understand, but fear sat on her mouth like a heavy stone. All she managed to whisper was, I'm scared. He hugged her. Don't be scared. I'm here, my love. At that moment, downstairs, her mother was walking around the village like a detective. She went from house to house, from friends to friends, asking anyone she could find, have you seen my daughter acting strange? Did Agatha tell you anything? Did anyone give her something unusual? Did she meet any strange person? Did she mention anything? Have you heard anything at all about her? People looked confused. Some said no, some scratched their heads, some looked afraid, some simply pointed her to someone else. At a point, Agatha's mother stopped under a tree and held her head. She whispered, God help me, I'm tired. My legs are tired. My mind is tired. My daughter is sleeping away. Then she stood up again and continued walking, passing neighbors, passing strangers, passing innocent children. She asked everyone questions until her voice grew weak. But all she had was no idea, no information, no clue, no solution. She almost cried right there on the road. Back at the mansion, things were also falling apart. Security guards now stood at every corner. The gate was locked completely. Even the car keys were collected and hidden. No one wanted to risk Collins escaping. Agatha sat on the bed, her fingers twisting nervously. She felt like she was in a cage. She felt guilty, crawling through her skin like ants. Collins paced the room angrily. Why are there guards everywhere? He asked. Why are they blocking the gate? Agatha shook her head. Maybe they know something. Collins frowned. Someone must have told them. She swallowed hard. Someone did. Sapphire. Collins stopped pacing and came to sit beside her. He held her hand gently, his voice soft. Don't worry, I'll find another way. I won't let them stop us. Agatha looked into his eyes. Eyes full of love. Love that wasn't real. Love that came from a wind. Love that was destroying them both. Tears gathered in her eyes again. She whispered, I don't know what to do. He touched her face. Just trust me. And she cried quietly because she did trust him, but she trusted him with a stolen heart. And she knew the truth was waiting outside like a shadow, growing darker every minute. The last day of the year finally arrived, December 31st. The whole village was preparing for crossover night, prayers, dancing, loud fireworks, and shouting Happy New Year at midnight. Everywhere felt excited and noisy, but inside the Ozo mansion, the atmosphere was different, heavy, tense, quiet in a strange way. Agatha had spent days inside the mansion crying, hiding, feeling miserable. She no longer enjoyed anything. Even being around Collins felt like carrying a hot stone inside her chest. She watched him follow her around like a love-struck shadow, and guilt grew heavier every second. She couldn't tell the truth, not yet, not with Sapphire suffering, not with the others running around looking for solutions, not with her mother crying in the village, carrying shame like a heavy bag on her head. But she knew something would break soon. Something had to break. By evening, the sky grew darker, the moon rose gently, spreading soft light across the mansion compound. People outside lit fireworks, laughing and preparing for midnight. While inside the mansion, everyone moved around with tired faces. Sapphire was in her room crying again. Adobe tried consoling her, but had run out of comforting words. Chief Ozo and Mrs. Cecilia were in the living room whispering in low voices, stressed beyond measure. Even the security guards looked worried. Meanwhile, Agatha was in her room staring at her hands. Her fingers trembled. Her heart felt squeezed. Her eyes were swollen from tears. She whispered to herself, "Tonight will end it. This madness will end." She didn't know whether to be relieved or terrified. She lay down on the bed, but sleep refused to come. Her mind kept replaying everything: the old woman, the ring, the witch, and the disaster that followed. Hours passed. Finally, around 11 p.m., she stood up slowly and wiped her face. Something inside her told her to go see Collins. Maybe to say goodbye, maybe to ask for forgiveness, maybe to end everything before midnight. She walked through the quiet hallway. Her footsteps were soft against the tiled floor. She reached Collins' door and pushed it open gently. He was asleep. For a moment she watched him, remembering the first day she saw him at the mansion, the handsome man whose face made her forget how to breathe. But now she saw something else: pain, not physical pain, but confusion, madness, lostness. She whispered, "What have I done?" She walked slowly to his bed and sat gently at the edge. She didn't want to wake him. She just wanted a moment to apologize quietly in her heart, a moment to breathe before everything changed. But as soon as she sat down, her weight moved the bed slightly. Collins' eyes snapped open. He looked directly at her. For 1 second, his expression was blank. Then he screamed. A loud, sharp, terrified scream. "What are you doing here?" he shouted, jerking backward against the headboard. Agatha jumped in fright. Her heart shot into her throat. She stared at him, stunned. Collins looked at her like she was a stranger or was a threat. He looked confused, scared, and shocked. He pointed at her. "Why are you on my bed? Who are you? What is happening?" Agatha's eyes filled with tears instantly. "Collins, it's me," he shouted again, louder this time. "Get away from me!" The sound of his screaming ran through the house like lightning. Doors flew open. Footsteps thundered down the hallway. First came Sapphire, running with fear in her eyes. Then Mrs. Cecilia, then Chief Ozo, then Adobe. They all burst into the room at once. "What happened?" Mrs. Cecilia shouted. Collins pointed at Agatha with shaking hands. "Why is she here? Why is she in my room? Eh? Why is she on my bed?" Everyone froze. Sapphire gasped and dropped to her knees, crying. "Collins, do you know me now?" He looked at her properly for the first time in days. Then slowly his eyes softened. "Sapphire," he whispered, like someone waking from a long sleep. She crawled to him and hugged him tightly, crying loudly. "Yes, it's me. I'm here. You are back." He hugged her back without fear or confusion. He recognized her. He remembered her. He knew her. He was normal. The spell had broken. Mrs. Cecilia lifted her hands and began crying. "Thank God! Thank God! Thank God!" Chief Ozo let out a long breath that had been holding for days. He wiped his face with both hands. "My son is back!" Adobe cried softly. "Finally!" Meanwhile, Agatha stood alone in a corner of the room, trembling like a leaf in a storm. Her chest felt tight, her throat burned. Tears rolled down her cheeks like a flood. She whispered to herself, "It's over." Collins looked at her again, confusion filling his face. "Why is she crying? And what is she doing in my room?" he asked Sapphire quietly. Sapphire looked at Agatha with anger and pain. "Why do you think she's crying? She knows what she did." Mrs. Cecilia turned to Agatha slowly, her voice calm but sharp like a cutlass. "Agatha, come forward." Agatha walked forward with shaky legs. Mrs. Cecilia folded her arms. "Tell us the truth. What did you do to our son?" Agatha's lips trembled. She shook her head weakly. I... Chief Ozo stepped closer. "We will not beat you. We will not harm you, but you must talk now." Agatha swallowed hard. Her eyes filled again. Her voice barely came out. I didn't mean for this to happen," Sapphire shouted. "Then say what you did." Agatha covered her face with both hands and began crying. Mrs. Cecilia raised her voice gently but firmly. "We are waiting." Finally, Agatha fell to her knees. Her sobs shook her whole body. Through tears and shaking breath, she confessed everything. I was walking home and I met an old woman carrying yam. I helped her. She gave me a ring and told me to make a wish. And I wished for Collins to love me and love me alone. The room went silent, completely silent. Even the air froze. Collins stared at her shocked. Sophia covered her mouth. Adobe whispered, Jesus! Mrs. Cecilia felt her knees weaken. She grabbed the edge of the bed for support. Chief also closed his eyes slowly and inhaled deeply. Agatha continued sobbing. I, did, I didn't know. I didn't know it would get to this. I didn't know it would get this bad. I was hurt. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Sophia stood up suddenly, her eyes red with fury. You destroyed my life, Sophia said in a shaky voice. You almost ruined everything. Do you know how much I cried? Do you know? Colin stared at Agatha, trying to process everything. So, all these days, all those feelings, all those things I said, they were not real? Agatha cried harder. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Mrs. Cecilia closed her eyes and whispered, this girl has brought disaster into this house. Chief also nodded slowly. We should call the police. Agatha gasped. No, please. Her mother's voice, full of shock, pain, and disappointment, appeared at the doorway. She had come into the room quietly while Agatha was confessing. She whispered, so this is what you did, my dear. Agatha turned to her slowly. Mama, please. Her mother shook her head painfully. Agatha, you disgraced me. You disgraced yourself. You disgraced our family. Mrs. Cecilia looked at Chief Ozo. Should we call the police? But Chief Ozo sighed. She's a minor. She's a child. And her foolishness came from childish heartbreak, not wicked intention. Mrs. Cecilia nodded. True. Adobe looked at Agatha and said softly, you must leave this house now and never, ever return. Agatha nodded quickly through tears. I will go, please. I just want to go, please. Sophia stepped forward. Leave and never come back. Homebreaker. Agatha lowered her head, crying. Collins looked at her one last time, but this time his eyes held no love, no affection, only pity. He said quietly, you need to go home, Agatha. Agatha wiped her face with shaky hands. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Collins. Mrs. Cecilia pointed to the door. Get up! Leave our house. We will not arrest you, but you must never come here again. Agatha struggled to stand. Her legs felt weak. Her chest felt heavy. Her tears fell non-stop. Her mother came to her side and pulled her gently. Come, Agatha. Let us go home. Let this shame end. Agatha walked toward the doorway, crying quietly. Before she stepped out, she turned and whispered one last apology. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No one replied. No one called her back. No one comforted her. She stepped out of the mansion into the cold night air. The fireworks outside exploded loudly as people celebrated the coming new year. But Agatha's heart was breaking. She walked away, crying softly. Every step heavy, every breath painful. Agatha walked out of the Ozo mansion with tears running down her face like water poured from a bucket. The night air felt cold. The sky above her was wide and dark, filled with stars that looked like tiny eyes watching her fall apart. Fireworks were rising from different corners of the village, bright colors exploding in the sky, but none of them reached her heart. Her legs felt weak, her chest hot, her eyes were swollen. Her mother held her hand gently as they walked home, but Agatha still felt alone, more alone than she had ever felt in her life. She could still hear Sophia crying inside the mansion. She could still see the shock in Collins's eyes. She could still feel the anger in Mrs. Cecilia's voice. She could still remember kneeling on the floor, confessing her sin like someone begging for life. She whispered to herself, I destroyed everything. Her mother heard it and sighed sadly, squeezing Agatha's hand. Let us go home. This night has finished us enough. They walked in silence, the only sound coming from distant fireworks and Agatha's quiet sobbing. As they reached the small road that led to their side of the village, Agatha wiped her face, trying to stop crying, but the tears refused to stop. Her mother asked softly, why did you do it? Why did you try to force love? Agatha shook her head. I don't know, Mama. I didn't think. I was hurt. I was confused. Her mother wiped a tear from Agatha's cheek. Pain can make people do foolish things, but thank God you confessed. What has happened has happened. It is time to move forward. Agatha sniffled and nodded. Then, as they continued walking, something happened. A woman appeared on the path. The same old woman. The same one from the bush. The same one who gave her the ring. She stood quietly, leaning on a stick, her eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. Agatha gasped. Her mother held her arm tightly. The old woman smiled weakly. You again. Agatha's heart began to beat fast. She stepped back a little. Mama, that's her. That's the woman I told you about. The mother frowned and looked carefully. Old woman, who are you? But the old woman didn't answer Ekutos. She looked straight at Agatha. Only her, like no one else existed. Why are you crying? The woman asked calmly. Agatha wiped her eyes again. Everything went wrong. Everything. I made a wish and it destroyed everything. The woman nodded slowly, like she already knew the story before hearing it. And now, you see the truth. You chose the wrong wish. Agatha swallowed hard. I just wanted him to love me. The woman shook her head slowly. You chose what was not yours. You reached for something that did not belong to you. When a person forces what is not theirs, it will never stay. Agatha felt tears building again. I didn't know. I didn't know it would get so bad. You didn't listen, the old woman said gently. I warned you. I told you to be careful. You could have asked for wisdom. You could have asked for health. You could have asked for school opportunities. You could have asked for blessings for your mother. Agatha lowered her head in shame. But instead, the woman continued, you chose a man who was not yours. A man already promised to someone else. A man far above your age. A man whose heart was never meant for you. Agatha sobbed. I know. The woman stretched her wrinkled hand forward. Give me my ring. Agatha removed the ring from her pocket with shaking hands. She held it tightly for a second, feeling its coldness against her skin, remembering how badly she wanted love, how desperate she felt that day, how foolish she was. She placed the ring in the old woman's palm. The woman closed her hand around it. Instantly, the gold lost its shine. It became dull, lifeless, just a useless circle of metal. The woman looked at Agatha again. The wish has ended. The year is closing. Let this lesson stay in your heart forever. Agatha nodded weakly. I have learned my lesson. The old woman turned to leave. Agatha's mother called out, Wait, who are you? Why did you give my daughter that ring? The woman didn't look back. She simply said, Everything happens for a reason. Then she began walking away slowly, disappearing into the darkness, like smoke carried off by the night wind. Agatha's mother held her close and sighed deeply. Let us go home. Agatha nodded again. Her voice was weak. Mama, I'm sorry. Her mother rubbed her back gently. My dear, the important thing is that you learned. Tomorrow is a new year. We will start again. When they reached home, Agatha dropped on her bed like someone who had been walking for days. She cried softly for a while longer, then finally slept from exhaustion. The next morning, her mother woke her gently. It is a new year. Ekwi said softly. Happy New Year, my child. Agatha sat up slowly, wiping sleep from her eyes. Happy New Year, Mama. Her mother hugged her tightly. This year, we will have peace. No more tears. Agatha nodded. I will never do something like that again, I promise. Later that day, Agatha and her mother went to the Ozo mansion to apologize properly. Agatha walked slowly into the compound, her heart racing, her legs trembling. When the Ozos came out, she bent down and greeted them respectfully. I am sorry, she said, her voice shaky. I am sorry for everything I caused your family. I was stupid. I was selfish. I didn't think. Please forgive me. Mrs. Cecilia looked at her quietly, then sighed. What you did was wrong, very wrong. But you confessed, and you are young. Learn from this. Agatha nodded quickly. Yes, ma. Chief Ozo added. Your mother raised you well. Do not disappoint her again. Agatha looked down. I won't, sir. Sophia stepped forward. She stared at Agatha for a long time. Her eyes were softer now, not filled with anger. Sophia finally said, I forgive you, but don't ever allow yourself to fall into desperate love again. Agatha nodded. I won't. Colin stood beside Sapphire. He looked calm and normal, no trace of the madness. He simply said, Agatha, move on with your life. Work hard. Forget everything that happened. Agatha whispered, I will. Her mother thanked the others and they went home. Weeks passed. The new year settled into the village like fresh air. People returned to work, students returned to school. Life slowly moved back to normal. The others eventually traveled back abroad. They greeted the villagers, thanked them for welcoming them again, and left with their bags and smiling faces. Collins and Sapphire looked happy together, and not long after, wedding invitations flew around the village like dry leaves in the wind. Collins and Sapphire were getting married. Agatha had the news with a peaceful heart. She no longer cried, she no longer felt jealous, she no longer felt hurt. The wish was gone, the spell was gone, her heart felt like hers again. She whispered to herself, it was never meant to be. The wedding was beautiful. Many villagers attended. Agatha did not go, but she prayed for them quietly at home. When the new school year began, Agatha focused on her studies again. The others did not give her a scholarship anymore, not after the drama. But she didn't complain, she simply worked harder. When she graduated from secondary school, she gained admission into the State Polytechnic. The day she received her admission letter, she hugged her mother tightly, smiling for the first time in a long time. I will make you proud, Mama, she said. Her mother smiled and kissed her forehead. You already have. Agatha entered school life with a new attitude. She avoided useless crushes. She avoided getting carried away by the appearance of boys. She avoided chasing fantasies. Instead, she read her books. She studied. She matured. She moved forward. Every night before sleeping, she remembered the biggest lesson she had ever learned. What is not yours will never be yours. And what is meant to be, will be. She repeated it over and over again in her heart. It kept her strong. It kept her wise. It kept her focused. And that was the story of Agatha's mistake, her heartbreak, her lesson, and her growth. Her life did not end at that mistake. It only began. Because sometimes, life has to break you a little before it teaches you everything. The story teaches that forcing what is not meant for you always leads to pain and regret. And that shortcut, especially in matters of the heart, can destroy more than they can fix. It reminds us that envy and desperation can push us into dangerous choices. But honesty and humility are the only ways to correct our mistakes. True blessings come naturally, not through manipulations. And when we chase what doesn't belong to us, we risk losing even the good things we already have. Most importantly, it shows that growth begins when we accept our wrongs, learn from them, and focus on becoming better. Thank you so much for watching this amazing story about Agatha on African Stories by V. If you liked it and learned a lesson from our story, please show your support by clicking the like button, sharing with your friends, and leaving a comment below. To see more interesting stories and learn about different cultures, subscribe to African Stories by V. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new story. The support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to you. Until we meet again, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep smiling.